Morning. We're working on counseling techniques. This is the second session. Today we want to just work on listening, and the third session is going to be empathy. So let's work on the listening. Counseling is conversation. You want to listen and you want to talk. Okay? Just both parties, counselors and clients, they do listen and talk. Okay? Or talk and listen. So both parties are doing that, but the counselors are there for helping clients, and clients want to get help from the counselors. But if the clients don't talk to the counselors have no idea what they can do for their clients. So both parties have to listen carefully and talk carefully. Okay. But the counselors are professionals. It's not just a conversation with their clients, but they are professionals. So they are supposed to listen professional ways and speak professional ways, right? So listening is the first thing they want to do. So that is so important. Listening is totally different with hearing. You don't have to worry about the hearing because your ears are opened already. It's not closed and open, but your mouth you can open and close. But the ears are opened always. Okay? So as long as you are awake, you can listen, you can hear anything you want. I mean, you can hear whether you want to hear or not. But listening is quite different. If you don't want to pay attention to your listening, maybe you're going to miss a lot of things. Okay? So you want to listen carefully, which means you want to really listen to your clients. Then you can help them right ways. You can understand your client not by hearing, but by listening. If you don't listen right, you can't speak right. So counselors need to get special training for listening. So that's why we want to just work on the listening for 1 full hour. Because listening is very important. You can listen, and they're listening at the same time, listening, and there is active listening. Okay, and we can see the differences between listening and active listening. Okay, listening is paying attention to other parties. So you want to just really want to listen what they really are talking about. You want to listen their words. You want to listen to their hearts. You want to listen to what they are feeling too. active listening is engaged listening. Engaged listening is engaged. You know, you and your clients are talking about this and that, but you are actively listening, which means you are in their story, okay? So you're gonna feel what they feel, you're gonna know what they know, you're gonna think what they think. So you wanna just totally give yourself to the listening. Engage the listening when you are listening for meaning and understanding. Well, you wanna read between the lines. You read things, but you wanna read between the lines, which means you wanna know real meaning. So you can really understand them right. Active listening is very different from passive. Okay, you talk, I'm gonna listen. No, because active listening is like reading between the lines, and active listening is for getting the right meaning, the real meaning, and understanding. It requires listening to thoughts, feelings, and nonverbal messages. So you want to listen to not the words of itself, but the thoughts, feelings, and nonverbal messages. You know that people are just, speaking more with their body languages, non-verbal languages, than verbal languages. The counselor says very little, but conveys an interest in what the client is talking. Okay? The counselor speaks in between to clarify and paraphrase to communicate if client has been correctly heard and understood. So active listening is okay, keep going, okay, I see. No. Active listening is okay. It means that you are frustrated when you got trapped. Is it right? You clarify or paraphrasing, that means you are frustrated because you got trapped. Or, that means you are trapped, so you got frustrated. Something like that. Simple. It's not only just summarizing, but clarifying. You want to make sure what they are saying, and paraphrasing. You want to just let what they said in a different ways, so that they can see what they said. Okay? By doing so, your clients can know that you are really listening to them. All right. What did you say? No. Active listening is okay. Is it right? I think that is this what you said. Is it right? I'm talking about the feeling, or I'm talking about the person or yourself. Clarify, summarize, paraphrasing. Alright? So, by doing so, your clients can be noticed that and convinced that you are really listening to them for better solutions, good guidance, something like that. Okay. Observational skills are very crucial for the counselor as it helps to observe client. When you talk with your clients, you are not just listening, closing your eyes. No, you open your eyes and you feel with your five senses. Sometimes you can smell what they have, and you can get good information from the smell. Shaking their hands, legs, feet. And head, blinking eyes, shaking their heads, moving their lips, facial expressions, all kinds of things you want to observe and you want to record it. And you want to know what kind of expressions and non-verbal languages they are using while they are speaking. So observational skills are very important. There are 4 specific areas which needs to be focused for observation. Body position, very passive, too much aggressive, relaxed, tension, body position, postures, gestures, grooming, non-verbal expressions, body language. Body language of the client includes our facial expressions, angle of our body, proximity of ourselves to another, positioning of arms, legs, etc. Observe how much it can be communicated or expressed by raising and lowering your eyebrows. Make sure you observe the client objectivity. For example, observing the client as a person without counselor's own biases or prejudices. In a multicultural counseling settings, some people are doing this for defensive. Some cultures can have this posture for humble. I haven't seen that kind of thing, but okay. When you have multicultural counseling settings, you want to study what kind of cultural backgrounds they have so you can understand them right. Because you don't want to miss anything from the counselings. And if you only have one cultural settings and you haven't studied any others cultural settings or backgrounds before the counseling got started, you have to be careful. Some people are doing this for coming, but some people are doing this for saying coming, please come. So, but in some cultures, this is very rude. Only very powerful people can do this, maybe, but in general, they don't do this. Please come. But in the United States, all people can say, please come. So, you want to understand what others' cultural background so you don't make mistakes, but provide good counseling for them. Okay, so that is quite important. Okay. When I got mission training 28 years ago, the school leader just told us that we are not supposed to wear short pants in Philippines because wearing short pants can be sexual expressions. So we all changed our pants to long pants. And we wore long pants for a month in Philippines. But as soon as I doubt it. But as soon as we landed in Philippines, we noticed that majority of Philippines people were wearing short pants, but long pants, because it's a hot country. It's very warm, very humid. It turned out that the school leader's direction was wrong, but because since he didn't change his direction, we had to wear long pants for a month. What a wrong information we got. Prejudices, biases. There are lots of things we have. Not only counselors have biases and prejudices, but our clients have those things also. So when we research and learn our clients' cultural backgrounds, we want to respect their cultural backgrounds if we are willing to provide them with counseling. You don't want to just let your clients understand you. Even though you are in the United States, you were born in the United States, and you grew up in the United States, you don't want to do it. Be careful. Counselors need to monitor the tone of the voice. Tone. I love you. I love you. Tone is different. Okay? Tone of the voice. I love you. I love you. All kinds of tones are very different. And depends on the tone, the words can be different. The meanings can be quite different. The meanings can be quite opposite. It is required to monitor one's body language, and then you want to just take a note on. It is required to monitor one's body language to help understand beyond what is said. Similarly, it is important to pay more attention to how it is said rather than what is said. Okay? So how is said can be more important sometimes. So contents, I love you, is the same, but the tone can be different and the meanings can be different. So you want to focus on and pay attention to their tones also. They got angry, they are happy, they got frustrated, they're depressed. You want to see the tones. A counselor needs to have the skill of questioning, as it helps to get maximum information about the client without being interrogative or intruding. A closed question is one which elicits answers in yes or no, or with limited inputs. It can start with what who, do, is, are, etc. Okay? So when we ask questions, we want to just be careful not to ask closed questions, which means they can answer yes or no, and there is no explanations. There is no explanations, which means that there is no reason. It doesn't, their answers, yes or no, doesn't have any explanations. And we have no idea why they said yes or no. Okay? For example, did you go there? Is she your friend? Yes or no? Whereas an open question is one which typically starts with how, could, etc. That elicits elaboration from the client. For example, can you please tell me more about the picnic you had with your friends? Your clients cannot answer yes or no because it doesn't make sense. So your clients have to say, at least one sentence. Although open questions are more used in counseling than closed questions, the use of both the type of questions will depend on the types of information, so that the objectives of the particular counseling session, so you don't want to just stick to yes or no. Open questions always. Okay. For example, is it your mom? You can ask her closed questions and your client's gonna say yes or no. Okay. You don't have to say how come she become your mom. You don't want to ask. Well, I don't know. If she is your client's stepmom, you can ask that kind of questions. But depends on the situations. Don't hesitate to use closed questions if you need it. Okay. Approve is a question that generally starts with what, who, where, when, how, etc., which helps you in getting specific further information into a particular aspect or issue. For example, what do you plan to do after you finish college? An accent emphasizes the last few words of what the client said by repeating it by the counselor so that it is highlighted. The clarification question requires the client to repeat or elaborate the point mentioned by the client. So you want to make sure what they really said. So clarification, you don't want to be hesitate to ask questions when you are not quite sure what they are saying, right? If you don't want to clarify that, you can't understand what they really think, feel, and say. So you don't have to hesitate, ask questions. Actually, we are supposed to ask lots of questions while we are listening to our clients, and when we are working with our clients, we want to just talk with them. You don't have to be hesitated, okay? Because the more clear you know about the clients, the more correctly you can answer to their questions, or you can talk to what they think and counsel them, right? The skill of paraphrasing refers to restating of what the client said just focusing on the content of the conversation. It helps the counselor to understand the client and be at the same page with the client. It can be described as a mirror response to the client. Mirror response, for example, I was sick. Oh, you are sick. That's a mirror. Mirror. I had a hard time because I was sick. Oh, so you had a hard time because you were sick. Because you were full. Because of headache, something like that. Okay. Sometimes paraphrasing is also used to seek clarifications. Okay. So when you paraphrase your client's words, and then you can see what they really are saying, and your clients can make sure that what they said is right, and what you counselors can understand. Okay, because sometimes they want to make sure that you are listening them right, you are understanding them right, you understand what your clients think and what your counselors think, right? So the skill of paraphrasing is quite important for understanding your clients. Good morning. Reflection of feeling is similar to paraphrasing skill, but it focuses on reflecting on the feelings in verbal and non-verbal expressions of the client. So then you can answer them, how do you feel? How do you feel right now? And when that kind of situations can be continued, what's going to feel about it? And you want to just ask about the feelings, and you want to just repeat what they are feeling, like a mirroring or something. And counselor also needs to have the skill of summarizing, which is focusing on the main points of an entire session or a particular conversation on an issue, and also the feelings involved in it. Skill of summarizing is quite important because in general clients are saying this and that, and sometimes, or most of the times, they are kicking the bush around, and so because the main point can be painful for them, so they don't want to just jump into the main point, or they end up just not comfortable to talk with counselors about their shames and weaknesses. They don't want to show their weaknesses to their counselors right away, so it takes time for them, and they just hesitate to talk about the real things right away. As I told you, because of the shame, or they don't want to get blamed by their counselors, so they worry about it. Then because of those reasons, they don't want to just jump into the main idea. But even when they just talk about the main problems, they want to make sure that you are listening to them right. So summarizing is quite important, and saving lots of times, and that can be a way of clarifying, and so it is very helpful counseling skills and techniques for clarification and just you make sure that you are listening to them right. So all the contents, but in the summarization, you want to just add not only the contents but their feelings and their thoughts and their plans or something like that. You want to just put those things all together in the summary. So then the clients actually are feeling, what they are feeling is that, oh, my counselors are listening to me right, and he's understanding me good, and then they can expect good results from the counselings, and those things are very important for the clients, so they can trust more. They can trust their counselors more than before, and then they can just move on to the real stuff more, which is very nice, very good. So we want to just keep that in our minds. So we just took a look about the active listening already, and then we want to just move on to the empathy session. So I want to just pause the recording for a moment so we can start the third session right away. Now we are on the third session about we want to work on empathy. Let me open the PowerPoint for that. Empathy is this as counselors, you want to have empathy to your clients, which means that is quite, it can be a little bit different what we normally think about the empathy. So that's the definition: the ability to perceive another's experience and then to communicate that perception back to the individual to clarify and amplify their own experiencing and meaning. So it is not identifying with the main client or sharing similar experiences, not I know how you feel. Okay? So empathy is not saying I know what you feel. I don't like this kind of conversations. Whenever you say this and that, and other parties say, I know how you feel. I had the same experience. I had a more severe experience, so I know you and I understand you. I hate that kind of those conversations. When you, even between the family members and friends, when somebody says, I have a bad experience, I got my arm broken, then what are you gonna say? What are you gonna say? You don't wanna say, I know how you feel. You don't wanna say it, because you never got your arm broken. Even though you had that kind of experience, you don't wanna say that. What you wanna say is that, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry for that. Okay? It must be very painful, isn't it? Or something like that. And how did you feel? What happened? And you wanna listen to your clients more, and you wanna just listen to, you wanna understand how they feel, how much they got frustrated, and what if happened because of the broken hands. You can't drive, or you can't work, which means you're gonna have financial problems. Depends on how long you need to take care of it. At least 4 weeks, right? Those kind of things are very important. So empathy is not saying I know how you feel, but empathy is to communicate that perception back to the individual to clarify, oh, how did you feel? What happened? What happened? What makes or amplify their own experience. That's empathy. Okay? So primary skills associated with the communication of empathy include nonverbal and verbal attending. Attending means you are there. Okay? You are there as a counselor or friend. You are there. Okay. So lots of people are asking, "Are you with me?" Which means, are you just interested in what I'm saying? Okay. Are you listening to me? Okay. So that means attending is being there for helping people, for supporting other parties. And nonverbal and verbal attending is this. When you have a conversation or counseling with your clients or friends, you wanna just sit closer. You don't wanna sit this far when you talk with your friend. Okay, friends are sitting by, side by side, or just face to face. So they want a conversation. They wanna just talk, comfortably. And they don't have to shout each other's because of the distance. So that's a nonverbal attending. The verbal attending is this: when your friends are saying, "I was sick," and blah 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 blah, and you are just listening, but you don't say anything, that is awkward. When your friend or your client says, "I was sick," then what you want to say? "Oh my goodness, really?" Those kind of things are verbal attending. Verbally, you want to make sure that you are there, and you want to just let your clients and other parties know that you are there. You are there. So that's the one of the empathy skills, and the next one is a paraphrasing content of client communications. Well, we already just took care of that at the listening and active listening. Paraphrasing is important because you are not mirroring. I was sick. Oh, you were sick. That's mirroring. I was hungry. Oh, you were hungry. That's a mirroring. Just repeating the same thing. But the paraphrasing is this. I was hungry. Oh, you were hungry because you couldn't eat for long times because of the money. You didn't have the money, so you were feeling really helpless. That's paraphrasing. It is a long explanation, but paraphrasing is not just changing the words, but you want to just put all the things that you got from your clients or friends in few sentences and just deliver all to your other parties. That's paraphrasing. Okay. Reflecting patient feelings and implicit messages. That's I was hungry and blah blah blah, and then reflecting. Oh, you were hungry and you were feeling helpless. You got depressed because you couldn't eat for a long time, or you skipped, 3 meals or 5 meals, 3 days. That's reflecting. That's why you were feeling depressed and you were feeling helpless, and you just delivered all the contents by paraphrasing or mirroring, but at the same time you just put some things what you learned from your clients, and then you want to just reflect in that the feelings. That is reflecting. Okay, and for the empathy, attending is kind of important, and I just already mentioned the attending involves our behaviors which reflect our pain. Full attention in an accepting and supportive way to the client. That's the attending. Full attention full attention. Okay. I hate when my wife just talks to me while I'm doing something important, and I can't focus on her because I have to get my things done, and I can't listen to her. And she's not close to me, sit by me, but she's there and doing her own work. Then it is very stressful because she's talking about something important, but she's doing something else and I'm doing something else. It's not perfect time for that. And I cannot be attend there, and she's not attending also. So in that case, we cannot just focus on the conversation topic at all. So when both parties get ready for sharing the ideas and discussing on certain topic, unless that you are not supposed to talk about it. You want to just sit together. I have something to tell you. Do you have time for it? Even between friends and partners and husband and wives, or between the parents and kids, you want to make an appointment, or you want to just set aside a certain time to talk about this and that. You want to make sure that your family members or other parties get ready to listen to you. Whether they can attend to you or not. If you are ready to attend to other party, then you can just talk to the party, but just think about how and when, where they can talk about this and that. Yeah. Or you don't want to just start the conversation. That's useless. You're not gonna get anything, but you can get hurt, or you're gonna hurt your partner. So attending is very important. So when I have something to tell my wife, something important was, or discuss, I ask my wife, do you have time to talk with me? I do. I don't want to talk to my wife when she is washing the dishes. So that is quite important. So that's why the counselings are happening in counseling rooms, all right, one-to-one or one-to-family. Okay, so we don't want to give counselings on the street, in the subways or something like that, because we don't want to, expose our shame things to others. Attending is very important, but it doesn't guarantee that you are just sitting with your clients in a counseling room. It doesn't guarantee that you are attending and your client is attending. So make your clients attend, and you want to just attend to your client. Paraphrasing, selective focusing on the cognitive part of the message, with the client's keywords and ideas being communicated back to the patient in a rephrased and shortened form. There are 4 steps in effective paraphrasing. So paraphrasing is not just repeating it, but just communicating back to the patient or to the clients in a rephrased and shortened form. So shortened form is quite important because you don't want to just speak more than what your client said, because you want to listen to your clients more, and you don't want to waste your client's time. And then you want to just be more directive, then just do more guidance than directions. First one is that listen and recall. The entire client message to ensure you record it in its entirety and do not omit any significant parts. Okay. So listen and recall. You want to listen carefully, so you want to just collect crucial, important information from your client's speaking, and then you want to recall it. You better just write it down. I do write it down. You know, before I just write it down, I just tell my clients that I'm gonna write it down so that I can keep those things on my note, so that I can make I can help you write, and I don't want to miss any important things. And in most cases, they say yes. I haven't seen anybody no for that. Okay. Number 2, identify the content part of the message by deciding what event, situation, idea, or person the client is talking about. Well, when you talk about what happened in the past or happened yesterday to your friends or to your counselors, then in general people are thinking that the other party knows something about it. But this is the first time you just talk about the events or incidents happened yesterday. So sometimes you can be confused, and then they got frustrated in a counseling sessions, especially for 2 or 3 sessions, and then they got frustrated and they're not feeling comfortable, so they can say this and that, and you can get confused. So you want to just make things right. Are you talking about your mom or dad? Are you talking about your situation or the relationship with your husband or your boyfriend? Or something like that. You want to just identify the content. Okay? So what event, what situation, what idea, or what your clients are talking about, you want to just identify. The third one is rephrase. So that's the third skills of third things when you want to just do paraphrase. Rephrase in as concise a manner as possible the keywords and ideas the client has used to communicate their concerns in a fresh or different perspective. So rephrasing is paraphrasing. Okay. But not only the rephrasing, but it's not just repeating it, but put all the important things in the rephrasing, and then you can put what they are feeling was. Number 4 is perception check. Is usually in the form of a verification. It sounds like you got frustrated and depressed because you couldn't eat for a while. Let me see if I understand this. Let me see if those expressions you want to just memorize it, or just write it down or collect those things in your note, like question notes. So you just put all the questions in your notes, and then you want to just utilize it, which allows the client to agree or disagree with the accuracy of your paraphrasing. Let me see if I understand this. So you said this, that, and then am I with you, or am I understanding right what you said? So those things are part of clarifying, and that's the perception check. So those 4 things are for paraphrasing, and those are pretty important in your counseling sessions. So you want to make sure that all things are going right. Reflecting clients' feelings. Effective reflection in an open-ended, respectful manner of what the client is communicating verbally and non-verbally, both directly through words and non-verbal behaviors, as well as reasonable inferences about what the client might be experiencing emotionally. So you want to just reflect clients' feelings. Right? When your clients are just keeping their arms crossed like this, and then just lean back rather than forward, or just lean sideways or something, and then you want to just ask your clients, how they feel. Are you feeling bored, or are you feeling that this counseling can be useless? Whatever you feel, you cannot ask them. Or they are shaking their heads, many times or sometime at once, and you don't agree with that, and you don't like it, or you don't like the advice or counseling, and when clients are talking about their father, my father, and then you want to just notice that you don't have a good relationship with your father. Okay, my mom, something like that, my friend, my grandma, which means different. Okay, so when people are looking at right, up, down, left, up, and down, people just made some researches on it. So when they down, maybe right up, it can be wrong, but people use their eyes and they look somewhere at particular places and spots and directions, and it depends on what they feel, and just think about it. But I'm not sure if that is right or wrong, because people have their own habits, and culturally and personally they can use different ways. I was told that in Middle East, it was happening in Pakistan, when people are using, when she was in a restaurant with the local friend, and she ordered, for example, omelet, and the server and the owner didn't say anything, but the local friend told her that they don't carry omelets or pancakes, and she was wondering how the local friend knew it. So she asked him, how do you know it? Because when she asked about the omelet, and the restaurant owner said this. I mean, she didn't say anything, but just look down, which means no, this means yes. So the local friend just explained that to her, and after that she just tried to see the server's face, and especially the eyebrows is yes or no. It was kind of confusing for me, but that's how they communicate. And So it is important for the helper to think carefully about so learning their body language, non-verbal things are very important. So you can just guess how they feel. And it is important for the helper to think carefully about which words he or she chooses to communicate these feelings back to the client. The skill lies in choosing words which use different words that convey the same or similar. For example, if a poorly skilled helper reflected to the client that he or she was very angry and depressed, when the client had only said they were irritated by a certain event and had felt very sad over the death of a family pet, the result could be counterproductive to the process of change. Okay. So those things that you want to just think about. And then there are 5 levels of responding. When you hear and listen to your clients and you want to just respond to your clients, the level 1 is when the counsel is simply horrible, reflects a little if any of feelings and content, and may even be critical of the client. And so that's the very low level. You can see those that kind of counselor. If we don't want to just see, but it can be happen because there are some crooked or wrong, counselors, or the counselor has no good feelings in them in the morning or afternoon because of the family issues or something like that. I just recommend in those cases, counselors are not supposed to counsel people when they are under kind of huge stress because they cannot focus on what their clients are saying. It's waste of time and money. So level 1 is horrible. Level 2 is when the counselor misses the mark by using a feeling that is not quite on target. Example saying, you feel upset when you feel depressed would be more accurate. Okay. So that is a kind of a horrible cases, but it can be happened. If you don't, if you misunderstand your clients, it can be happened. And or uses content that does not quite capture the meaning of what the client said. And that's the level 2. You want to just see those kind of counselors, And level 3, responding, is when the counselor is on target, reflecting bad feelings and content that capture exactly what the client was saying. So it's not focusing on the client but the counselor. That's not what we want to do in the counseling sessions. So that's the thing we want to avoid. And level 4 is when the counselor succeeds feelings just below what the client was outwardly expressing and accurately reflects those feelings back to the client. For example, so I'm sensing that in addition to your anger, you feel pretty hurt, and that's the subsidies. And level 4 responses can also demonstrate complex and critical thinking that helps the client to gain awareness about his or her life. It seems like every time you get close to someone, you get scared, similar to how you felt when you were rejected by your parents. These responses reflect understanding, not a guess or an interpretation. Okay. So you want to just level up a little bit more from level 4, but you want to just take a little bit more about the level 4. Another level 4 response is when the counselor reflects the dilemma that the client may be experiencing, but is not seeing directly. For instance, so on one hand, I hear your deep attraction to this person in your office. On the other hand, I also hear your ongoing love for your spouse. Okay, that's the dilemma. You see the dilemma. Okay, this is good, but you don't see that directly, because we want to just face the things just honestly, rather than avoiding those things. Level 4 responses are like icing on the cake, bringing more depth and clarity to the client's experience, but they are not essential. Then your response doesn't have any power to the counseling. In fact, I usually tell beginning counselors to shop for level 3 responses, and if a level 4 response happens to pop into their consciousness, then go for it. But we want to just move on to the level 5. Level 5 responses occur when the counselor is with the client, engaged communication. Okay, engaged communication. So you are with your client, and your client is with you. So you can understand what they are saying and what they are feeling, and clarify and paraphrase and make sure that you are listening to them, and your clients know that they know that you are you understanding them. That is quite important. And level 5 responses occur when the counselor is with the client in his or her deepest moments of pain and demonstrates this in some way with the client. These are relatively rare responses, usually made in long-term counseling relationships. So I won't go into depth about them in this article. Alright, so there are 5 forms of empathic responding. Okay, 5 forms. So I want to just borrow Greenberg and Elliott. They suggest that rather than levels, we can identify 5 forms of empathic responding, which are undertaken by the therapist at different times in their work with the client. It's understanding, evocation, exploration, conjecture, and interpretation. Well, understanding. Understanding involves the therapist attempting to take or prehend their client's perspective and to communicate this understanding. Evocation involves the therapist helping the client to bring forth and vividly experience their emotions and situation. Exploration involves the therapist facilitating the client to consider the focus on aspects of their situation that may have been hitherto less explored and considered. Okay, finally, the therapist provides potential alternative analysis of the client's experience, that's conjecture, or new information to the client based on the therapist using his or her own perspective on what the client has experienced That's interpretation. So there are 5 things. And exploration involves the therapist facilitating the client to consider and focus on aspects of their situation that may have been less explored and considered. Finally, the therapist provides a potential tentative analysis of the client's experience, its conjecture, and or new information. I think that's the redundancy. Okay, I'm sorry for that. So there are 5 things: understanding, evocation, feelings, exploration, and conjecture. Interpretation is future thing, planning, those things. So there are 5 forms of empathic responding we develop. Okay.